Hey, welcome back to the next episode of Yomo. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we are trying to pick up part two of the book Conscious Business, and it is one of the familiar reflection we have today. So it's actually a true reflection title
Right.
versus the other one.
This was building up and up and up. So this is part 2 of Conscious Business, Build Value Through Values by Fred Kaufman. Like we talked about before, this book was just tailor-made and written for Kofman. Exactly what we are trying to do and trying to accomplish is building a conscious business, building a company that's built on not just the company values. The best companies have a purpose and values, and they definitely follow that direction.
I think the best company have alignment of values with the individual.
Right. They have alignment with values at the organizational level. The individual.
Why? I disagree, though. I mean,
no, business at a business level.
Without the thing is, like I said, you cannot separate the Chris at home versus the Chris at work.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
So the thing is, there's no such thing as a business value. It's only a personal value that has commonality in an organization, and then quote unquote becomes the business core values. It is not a core value that you can go, hey, this is my core value. You have to become and embrace it. You just can't do that. It doesn't align. Because to me, that is just another grouping. Business at a high level is a grouping of certain individuals. We say, hey, these are groups of cheaters. These are groups
it's a super organism.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Like you and I have like microbiome in our guts. This is they have grouping. So a business or a system or a function of something, it is a collection of common individuals.
Agreed. Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. The problem is in modern day business, though, like you coming from an outside, once the first founding 10 or 15, or maybe even, the rule of 150, right? Like where humans can kind of know each other up to about 150 people at a time. And maybe I think you could get 150 people with shared enough commonalities around values that it can feel like the organization at the macro level is also sharing values with the individual level. But I think as an organization grows, it's impossible to keep those same values with everybody that you bring in.
You can. I mean, you can take your body as an example. You really can't have like the gut biome completely be the entire part of your body. So you have your gut, you have your heart, you have your kidneys, you have your pancreas, you have your blood system, you have the nervous system, you have your brain. Those things are commonly, but it does produce value. But those value can use and be rely upon on others, right? They can take something from one system, right? For example, the blood can pump oxygen to the brain, and the brain can pump signals to the rest of the body to do whatever that the brain does, right? And so the gut, for example, you have the gut. The gut has a bunch of bacteria in there, and you imagine introducing something that is not the same kind of bacteria as the gut, right? It's going to destroy it. And once that destroy, can't function in this because your gut's gone. Then your heart, your kidney can't function. Your liver can't function. Your brain stops functioning. Your heart stops, and then you die. You think about it. Right. So you can't say, well, the organization has to have particular core values or certain trait and characteristic. It cannot, and it doesn't have to all have commonalities between that. It just have like whatever function you have need to have commonality, but the values that are the output of that thing, it is usable by another system and vice versa. Because the thing, you think about the brain doesn't have the gut microbiome. So you think about it, it doesn't share the same function, but it has these small cascading values that it passes down to the other system to connect them.
Right.
So you can't say, hey, my body in itself has a single value. It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with that. I think that's kind of one of the biggest things that you and I are fighting for with Clubany is to unite the individual with the collective at the same time, where they don't feel like one of them's lost and it can be sustainable. When one produces something that they care about, it benefits all versus being it's either this way or no way, right? That's not the way that we want to live. So, I mean, this kind of ties in a little bit around conscious business and then this reflection too, because it's that this was building for me personally for a while, for a really long while. The reflection title for this, if you want to share the screen, is "It Is What It Is." And I know that we've talked about this a little bit, but like there's a reason why this appeared at this time journey, in its own reflection. I think one of the things that you and I have been fighting in this whole journey is the idea of "it is what it is." I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I'll speak for myself. Of my whole life, for the most part, like I cannot count how many times that I can think back in my existence. I don't know. One of the most common phrases I think that I've always said is "it is what it is." Like when something bad happens, it's like "it is what it is." Or when you got to deal with a company you work at and you don't like, "it is what it is." You remember when I told you one of my coping mechanisms that I developed for my anxiety attacks I started to have when I was in my late 20s was like, you have to learn how to be happy when you're unhappy. Do you remember when I told you that? Like,
Yes, learn how to be happy and unhappy.
when
Wait.
you're unhappy, yeah. I mean, which
To me,
in a weird
it
way,
sounds so absurd.
in a weird way, it sounds insane, and at the same time, it makes tons of sense to me because like that's the "is what it is" philosophy. It's like, look, okay, like you're unhappy, like so you got to learn how to be happy when you're unhappy. Like it's like no, like figure out why you're unhappy and change that, or find another path or find an alternative. I think the idea of "it is what it is so limiting in its scope where you're like, well, this is what we're given. This is what life is like. But the funny thing about life in general is if the universe operated on the idea of "it is what it is," we would not exist. Like nothing would exist because if there's only one defined path, eventually you'd hit your 1,001st day turkey and everything would blow up in your face, right? The universe operates on infinite possibilities, right? Like if one roadblock gets blocked, like, okay, great, we just take another path. Like, I don't care how long it takes. We'll just go another direction and we'll figure out a way around. Like you've said this a million times with your example of a boulder gets in front of you and you look at it and you're like, well, you could say "it is what it is," or you could go, well, I'll just dig under it, I'll drill through it, I'll walk around it, I'll climb over it, I'll find a way to transport myself through it. Whatever your imagination can come up with and you can try to figure it out. That's the anti "it is what it is" mentality.
Mm.
But like I think, just speaking for myself personally, got so used to, I think it almost reminds me a little bit of the whole Steve Jobs quote of, they almost got me. Well, I think they did get me for a long time of my life of, hey, I hate this class in school. Well, I got to pass it because it is what it is. Why am I paying for this in college right now? Why am I paying for somebody to make me take classes that I don't want to take and then grade me accordingly on classes that I don't give a shit about so I can get a piece of paper that they will quote uncredit me with? And it's like, well, it is what it is. I guess I just got to go cram harder and study harder and keep pushing that boulder up that hill more and more.
Why are
I
you
just,
pushing the boat up the hill?
I don't know, like because it
It
is what
is
it
what it
is.
is.
That's what we do, right? Like it's like the idea of "it is what it is" literally like I don't know. I don't have an answer for it, and I don't want to go find an answer for it. I just accept what is given to me, and it,
It's that turkey story with the grandmother trimming off the ends.
right, right, right.
Why are you doing it? It is what it is.
I mean, it's so this reflection for me was like a once and for all. Like I'm calling bullshit on this, and I'm very conscious now of when I say "it is what it is" with something. If I say that now, I'm okay with saying that now, but it's because I choose to say that now. Like it's not, and what I mean by that in particular is I put in this reflection of reminds me of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and conscious business both reminds you that you're responsible, response-able, right? Like if something gets put in front of you, like you have the ability to respond or not respond. But like, either way, you can own that decision, right? And make that decision with your values in mind and your purpose in mind and the direction you want to go in life. Look, if you just want to stop and stare at a rock wall for, as long as it aligns to your values and your purpose and you make that strategic decision and say, well, it is what it is. I don't mind that. I guess
I
what the
mean, the thing
problem
is,
is you
even
say
if
it
you
without it.
choosing to stare at the wall, and because you choose to, you still enjoy it. I guarantee
Right.
you that, right?
There's a reason. Got to be a reason.
Because if you choose to, it's it's the reason, right?
Right. Like,
That's
I
the
mean,
only reason why it matters anyway, right?
right.
Because it doesn't matter if somebody sends you on some paradise, but you don't want to go. It's miserable.
Correct. And you say, well, it is what it is. I think this particular reflection was coming to like a climax, like a two ahead, I guess, if you will, of of my disdain for this word at this point in time, because this whole journey has been about the anti it is what it is, like it's about exploring new paths. It's about how many times have we faced adversity through this entire journey of, vacations or hospitals or something going on with your family or friends or work related sickness, like whatever. There's a million different things that have popped up during this journey, even with you and I, that I could have easily just said, well, it's like, Chris, you just can't do this tonight, or you can't, give it a break. Like, we'll figure it out. Like, no, like it's and I would have probably given up in the past, it would have been like, look, like, you can't do this forever. It is what it is. That is something that's not connected to purpose or values. Like, that statement is disconnected from a driving force behind it. That's what it is. That's truly what that is. When I would say that in my past life, that was me just going, well, this isn't connected to anything bigger than me. So like, I don't care, I'll just accept what is in front of me. But when you live your life guided by values and purpose, and you truly care about these things, like is what it is an unacceptable comment. And unless it happens to align with your values and purpose, then it's fine,
Well, I think this is the mindset that prevents you from moving. One of the story I hear a long time ago about the baby elephant, his foot is tied to this little anchor. He can't, as a baby, he's not strong enough to yank the rope loose from his foot. But as he goes bigger, he could easily rip it, but he never did, because his mind has told him that he could not. And so to me, it is what it is. It's so powerful in our heads, psychologically blocking us from even trying an attempt to even try something different. And that is probably one of the best way to control somebody, is to give them the impression that they couldn't do. Just like when we're talking about the prisoners, right? When they have given up, they light their last cigarettes. That's when they die. But a prisoner that never have something on the outside they really want and want to keep fighting, they somehow could never exhaust all of the energy. This is the power of the human being, because we have so much mystery and so much depth in our power to survive, to figure out different ways, different solutions to many, many things. We have that capacity, that superpower of ours is our brain. But the brain that say, well, if I stop looking for solution, then there won't be a solution. If you think about it, that's just a very, very simple concept. If you stop looking, then there won't be a solution. If you stop wanting to live, then you won't. It doesn't matter, because when you decide that you are at a certain, phrase or state or whatever that you want to be in, and you accepted it, then that's where you be. Just like, if I say, if people say, hey, if you don't try, then your chance of success is what?
Zero.
Absolute zero. Exactly.
Right.
But if you try, then it's at least more than zero. So that's the thing, is it's so simple, it's so powerful, that it is what it is one of the, I guess, the shackle that society has brainwashed us or conditioned us to put on ourselves. Shackle ever.
It's impossible to, I mean, it almost reminds me of that Hampton, J Pig thing that I told you about on Tiny Toons, where it's like your soul has been just sucked out of you, and you're like somebody, like you are just basically a robot doing what somebody else wanted you to do, and you're like, well, it is what it is. It's like I mean, this whole daycare thing. I think I've heard about 5 million people tell me it is what it is. Like, you have to send your kids to school, and they have to get sick this way, and they have to do this
what it is,
because it is what it is. And I'm like, no, like, I mean, but the idea then is, do you want to fight about this or not? Right? Like, I've chosen to not fight about this one anymore for a few reasons, but these are reasons that using my responsibility, I've looked into my values and my purpose, and I've said, is this worth trying to go reinvent a whole nother way to live life in a city civilization, or is this one of those ones where I can say, you know what, that's okay. I'm gonna let this boulder stay here because I'm gonna go focus on other boulders that matter more to my life. Like that was my decision on that one. But either way, at least I recognized it. I think this is about
Right.
conscious
And then that's the
awareness.
thing is when you say, hey, that this is something that I don't really care about. And so if I don't want to yank that chain and get loose out of the chain, then I don't have to, but I
Right,
can if I want. So that's the power that you have. But when
right.
you accept the fact that this is the only choice, then that is the shackle that you put on yourself, and that's the strongest shackle that can never be broken.
Right.
You cannot break the shackle because the shackle isn't tangible. The shackle isn't one of those things where you can touch, feel, or break. You have to break something else that controls it. So that
Okay.
shackle is not breakable in the physical sense. It can only be broken by breaking something else, which is your mindset.
Right. I
Right.
mean,
And
and
so
that's
as I think
that's everything.
it is what it is. It is so dangerous. And we, for whatever reason, have grew up with
Uh-oh.
whoa, whoa,
Hang on.
whoa, whoa,
Hang on.
whoa,
Hang on. There we go. I finally.
whoa.
Sorry, I finally got my computer back up and running.
As far as updating.
Yeah, no, it was my stupid laptop. Like the Zoom just stopped working. All right, anyway, so I was on my phone and I hated being on there because I can't see
It's
you, and then B, like I hate
yeah.
staring down at my phone, and I was gonna die too, actually. All right, so, sorry, we're back on track.
It is not what it is, though.
It is not what it is. We found a way through.
It's dangerous. And I don't understand how we've got to this system of conditioning that we have given ourselves to pass on to our kids from generations to generations, that it is what it is. And that, for whatever reason, continues to replicate itself.
It
Because
does. It
we're
gets
talking
worse.
about the grandmother with the trimming the ends of turkey. We're talking about, because the thing is, she did it, and the kids watch her did it. Her mom watched the grandma did it, and the mom did it, and then the daughter did. But how many
Right.
daughter have asked, "Why do you trim it?" But a lot of times, like, the answer would never reveal itself, because you think about it, if the daughter asked and the mother say, "Well, that's what my mom did it," right? And then you
Right.
ask the grandma say, "Well, this is how my mom did it."
Right.
So no one know when some tradition starts, and tradition catch on for weirdest random reasons.
So weird. I mean, we just did the Santa Claus one, the Secret History of Christmas, like 2 episodes ago. I mean, almost all of that shit, you're like, if you went and listened to that book, you'd go, that's why we do that? Like, I mean, this stuff happens all the time throughout history, though. I mean, it even gets worse when you talk about other, like, it's the compound effect in action. It is what it is. The longer something becomes the norm, and the longer that like society accepts this as reality. Like in America, we have a lot of it is what it is with our social economic classes, right? Certain poorer families in America have kids out of marriage, and then they abandon their kids, and a lot of welfare states and a lot of single mothers taking care of kids. And you drive through these really bad areas of the city or something along those lines of urban America, and you're like, it just is what it is. And I'm sure these kids grow up, they're living in lives of crime and poverty, fathers or mothers abandon them, and seeing their aunts and uncles do the same thing, and seeing all this other stuff going on. And I mean, I have to feel like it's like, it is what it is. It's hard to overcome, like, until you figure out, oh, it's not, it is what it is. Like, I could do whatever I want to do. And it's those people that eventually that clicks in their head, that they do break free, and then they try to come back, and like, then it's on you to go help other people to pull them out of that it is what it is rabbit hole, because it's so easy to get indoctrinated into your life from an early age. Like, if you see your dad beat your mother every single day,
But I think you are born into that, because you can't really tell the difference. You can't tell the difference that, hey,
right,
this is not the way it's supposed to be. And one of the things is that the longer the history, the longer the tradition, the harder it's for you to break.
it's
But
impossible. Not impossible, sorry. I mean, it's really hard.
it's not impossible, but it's almost impossible, because I don't think you can get out on your own.
Yeah.
You're born into the society, right? And the moment you come to this earth, you have already been inside the system. It's not like you are outside and you say, hey, I can see, I can completely hold on to some kind of reference. And when I get bigger, I'm going to use this key, right, to separate myself from the dream, right? This, you know, talking about the Inception movie, right? What is real and what is a dream? Because you are already entered into this dream state. You cannot really wake yourself up. Somebody has to wake yourself up. So there's only one of the few ways that I know of, which is the only one that you and I have come across, is the atomic bomb. Meaning that somebody blasts you completely out of that dream and wake and shoot you so hard that you woke up by yourself and you say, well,
It's
at
not
a state where
it is.
I think you're
So you look
freezing
around and you
again.
go, holy shit, it's a blank slate. You see, like, honestly,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. I think he's gonna freeze again.
After the atomic blast, you're shot
You
back
basically
into
like standing by yourself without any kind of influence, right? You say, well, I don't care about anything else that I've experienced so far. The only thing I am is right now I am with nothing attached. And this is when you can only look at it from a subjective point of view, and you can say, well, this is not right, and this is the way that I think I should go. So you basically blast out of that dream, and you can make that choice. And so to me, that is one of the way, which is also rare as well, to get out of that dream. The other way, which is easier, it is somebody comes and wake you up. They will tap you on the shoulder and drag you out of that dream, wakes you up. That is the only way. You think about it, if you are in a trance, you're in a hypnotic trance, no one can get you out. You cannot get you out yourself. Only somebody can outside of that can wake you up from that trance. And so to me, there's that two way that I know. There are probably more, but like I said, you know, you and I only know two.
But either way, that was an externality that was forcing the issue.
It has to be an externality.
It
cannot be. You cannot do it by yourself.
Right. I mean, there's no way. It's almost impossible. Like, hell, I'm watching Luca every day, watching Sesame Street, and and I see what they're doing, where they go. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like, I actually like some of the concepts that they're presenting on Sesame Street. Of I wonder what if, let's try, and they're like, like they ask that question all the time. I wonder what if, let's try, which is great because it's encouraging you to go, well, I don't know the answer to this. I wonder, like, what if we tried this, and then let's try that, and let's do it. Like, I think that's a great idea. Luca's only 2.5 years old, and he knows his ABCs like all the way through, and he can count to, I think, up to like 17 right now or something like that. And like, I see this, I didn't teach him this stuff. Like, and like, I'm watching him watch these things, and I'm watching him like listening to how we want our children and luckily I am looking at this program and going, I believe in this message, and I've chosen that this is something that I feel like my son would value, and I'm okay with letting that become that thing. But he just absorbs himself into it, and then he starts doing exactly what he's being shown to do on these shows, right? Like, and like, he doesn't watch them a ton, but it's like, it's insane how quickly he absorbs. He absorbs the actions. He doesn't absorb the meaning and context. He has no idea what the meaning and context is. Like, he has no concept of that, right? But he can definitely take direction and absorb that, and then mirror that back and start to make that a part of who he is and who he's developing to be, right? Like, that is exactly what you're talking about. Like, he can't pull himself out of that. This is literally, I plopped him in front of a screen and I said, watch this and you will be whatever that screen says you to be. Like, it's almost insane how powerful it is, right? Like, of our spoken word, of our language, of our books, the TVs that we have, content that we have out there for humans to absorb what other humans throughout time have put together. But like, if you were to watch our own podcast series or read every one of these reflections, and see, this is basically us indoctrinating somebody else, but we put a lot of thought behind this. Are we right? Probably not. Like, are we way off? I don't know. I don't really care either way, but this is our own exploration of our own journey. But at the end of the day, though, if somebody were to follow through this, if we've done this with the Core Values Quest, we've put people through our ideology of what we're trying to create, and they've absorbed it, and it's changed, and they've embraced it, and it's become, like, who I want to hope that it's becoming who they want to be. But like, I don't know that that's totally true. But either way, what I'm getting at is like the idea of humans to absorb all this stuff and to mirror that back is so powerful, but it's almost too powerful if you don't have the context behind it, right? Like, because we're talking about the context in every one of these episodes. If you were to watch every single episode for this from start to finish, you will start to understand the concept of what we call meaningful work and meaningful relationships. And you'll see it evolve and grow over time. And you'll slowly be able to digest that, get the context behind it, and make your own decisions as to whether or not you wanted to be involved in this or not, right? Like, Luca doesn't have that choice, and so many kids don't have that.
Yeah,
choice.
they don't have the choice because they can't choose what kind of information that comes through. And like you say, the ability for us to absorb information and to exchange it and to replicate it, that's like the protocol. That's the plumbing in the system.
Yeah,
that's something that you can have, but you can put anything to the system. Just like food, for example. I can give you food, right? I can give you good food, or I can give you poison food. Right? It's still food, but it's something, one is good and one is bad for you. And so the thing is, we have the ability to absorb information and replicate. But because of that, there's always pros and cons. The cons is that when you feed wrong information, when you feed bad information, you become rotten.
Right.
And it's become miserable. You become this disaster, this chaotic person. And to me, it's harder and it's less, I guess it's less of a chance for you to feed only the good things, because to me, to feed something good, you have to filter out all of the bad to only leave.
But what is good and what is bad is totally subjective to that person. Like Tiger Woods.
But my point is that it's good because I know it's compatible with you. It is bad when it isn't, because the thing is, let's say you're celiac,
that's
right?
the key. Yeah.
If you eat bread, right, eat bread with wheat, then you're gonna have a reaction to it. And I know that's bad for you, right? And so to me, this is why we explain the context of you have to be who you have to be. You cannot be who you want to be. Right? Because you cannot choose
on purpose. Like the key is on purpose, though. That is the ultimate key to all of this stuff, is doing it on purpose. Your celiac example is a perfect example. There's so many people that go through their life with gut issues and feel bloated all the time and feel constantly run down with energy, and then they're like, well, it is what it is. This is just how I feel. Like, you're like, well, if you want to eat that, if you knew like that wheat was the reason why that was a symptom that was causing a lot of these issues, and then you chose to eat that pizza, I'm fine with that. But like,
I think that's the thing.
And you said it is what it is. That's the bad part.
There is I guess they don't understand it. And I don't think anyone would choose to endure the heartaches and the sickness and the misery. I mean, I can tell you for myself that you could say that I'm a caffeine addict. I drink like no one's, there's no tomorrow. I drink so much that people look at me like, hey, how can you even like stand there? You would be jumping up and down the ceiling because you drink 8 cups a day. You drink like before you go to sleep. How can you do that? You're just a freak. Right. So you would say I am that kind of person. And I have tried to quit before. It didn't work. I went into this withdrawal like I was a drug addict. I can't function. I was completely like a zombie because my brain didn't understand it. So when I went back to drinking again after I tried to quit for the first time, you could say that I chose to drink it. Yeah. But I don't think that's how I would call it, because I didn't know enough to choose the right choice.
That's the purpose. That's what I'm saying, is like choosing it on purpose. So like Tiger Woods is no different, in my opinion.
But I'm saying my question is, I doubt that anyone would choose something bad on purpose.
But I doubt that anybody would choose something good on purpose either when they're that young, right? That's what I was going to say.
No, I would. The thing is, anyone, if they have the full understanding, they would choose the thing that is going to be best for them.
This is the key. I know. We're saying the same thing. I agree with you 100%, right? Like if you understood, you would never choose bad. If you understood, you would always choose what is in alignment with who you want to be, right? Like I agree with that wholeheartedly. What I'm saying is the not choosing, actually goes both ways. Like for every kid that grows up, watching their mom be abused and never having a regular meal and sleeping on like and moving from house to house or whatever, like et cetera, like they didn't choose that, right? And they didn't choose to see what they've seen in their whole life, and they think that that's how life works, right? And it just is what it is, right? Like I gotta go out into the streets and do whatever I gotta do to make life work because that's what I'm told to do every single day. I don't have any agency for myself. Like this is my life. Or vice versa, you can also swing to the other side of the equation of somebody like Andre Agassi or Tiger Woods, where their parents chose for them really early on, like, hey, you're going to do this and you're going to do this every single day. And then they happen to latch onto that and love it. I know they never understood why, because eventually at a certain point in time, when they got a choice to choose that for themselves, or like that Robo QB that we talked about, the guy that you could also have the good on the other side too. Because in theory, what their parents did was good, right? Like they put him on a track to, something that society would deem as something that's a good thing. But my point being is like either one of those options, they were the individual wasn't choosing ever. Like what you're talking about and what we're talking about and what I'm talking about is choosing on purpose to only do things that align to who you want to be in life. But in order to do that, you have to understand who you want to be in life. And like that is the thing that I think that most people, like if you said to them what you want to do every single day, you would say, well, that just is what it is. You can't do what you want to do every day. That is not possible. You cannot spend your entire day doing only what you want to do. Anybody you say those words to, they would say to you, it is what it is, Chris. Like you cannot always do whatever you want to do. And I would go, that's what we're told. We wouldn't even know what we want to do. If you actually knew what you wanted to do 100% of the time, I am 100% sure that you could do what you wanted to do all day long on purpose, right? If you knew what you wanted to do all the time. I think the problem is most people don't know.
Is I guess the clear understanding, and that involves both knowing you and knowing the choices you have. Like if any of those elements are missing, then the choices you make are really ain't going to have the alignment, and that becomes not aligned. And when it's not aligned, it's bad.
Then it's just a matter of time before something blows up. Honestly, like that's really the truth. You're just on a speeding train, like careening toward where the track stops, and it's just a matter of time before something gets derailed. I mean, it's just honestly got truth. Something will be, when you don't choose it, good or bad, something is going to derail you eventually. Andre Agassi was derailed by injuries and started doing crystal meth. Tiger Woods was derailed by infidelity. Robo QB was derailed by having personal agency and, probably being around hot college girls and not having his dad breathe down his neck every single day and telling him what to do or not do. When you don't choose it ever, the train will just fly off the tracks at some point in time.
Absolutely. I think that's the key takeaway is you have to understand who you are at the level that you want to be before you can make decisions on things you can and cannot or will or not do, just because the alignment is the important element in this formula. Because without that, everything else, like you say, eventually it's going to get off track and it's going to get derailed and it's going to have this disasters. And you're going to wonder why you waste so much time going in some kind of path that you never want. Right? Answer the question, it is what it is. To answer any question with what it is essentially ignoring the fact that are you going to hit, at the end of that rail.
Yeah, you're on a runaway train. Yeah, like it's like it's ignoring that you're on a runaway train that's gonna derail. Like, I mean, like that's what you're saying. Like it's I mean and honestly, like just because the train derails doesn't mean that this ideology of it is what it is going to go away. Like you still, even that atomic blast happens, like it's still, honestly, if anything, there's multiple different paths that you can take. The not it is what it is path is even still rare even when that happens. Most people want to scramble and go back to, well, I just want to get back to it is what it is. I don't care if it is what it is was the shittiest life in existence ever, but take me back to my it is what it is. Now I want to go back, just let me go back to the dream.
Right.
And then same thing with somebody pulling you out of it. I don't know about that one. Like if somebody actually did pull you out of that, I just don't think you would ever be open to even be pulled out of it if you didn't already choose the agency around, okay, I'm gonna see something that I don't want to see, but like I'm cool with that, and I'm down for this journey. You know, if somebody, because I don't think you could just trick somebody into taking a trip out of it is what it is land. I don't think you can trick them. An atomic bomb will shoot them out of it is what it is land, but somebody has to go with you if you're going to guide them out of it is what it is land.
You cannot wake somebody up,
right,
if they don't want to wake up.
Exactly.
Right. And if you wake them up, if you somehow can wake them up, they're gonna want to go back to sleep. They're not gonna say, okay, what do I do now? No, they say, hey, leave me alone, let me go to sleep. I mean, to me, the person that stays awake, you think about the Matrix, right? So many people have been tapped on the shoulder, but not too many people have even take the red pill to come out. And then some guy who came out, right? He go and he betrays Neo and Morpheus and go back. He make a deal with the agent to go back to to be hooked up into the machine again. I mean, you remember that part? And so a lot of people are like that. And so to me, like you say, even the atomic bomb can't wake them up.
Right.
But if they're gonna go back to reform. There's no doubt about that.
Hey, and like I said, I'm cool with you choosing it is what it is land. That's fine. But like as long as you choose it, you know, like I mean, like it's
no complaints.
Right. No, I agree. Like I said with Luca in the daycare world, I'm choosing it is what it is land, and I'm okay with that. Like that's not a fight that I want.
The thing is, the difference is that when you choose and you understand that you're choosing, then you say, well, I chose this and I'm okay with it. The part that I don't get is you chose something and you don't understand it and you complain about it is so horrible, it is so tragic, it is blah blah blah. The only thing you're doing is you're just creating more misery for yourself, and then you're asking yourself why you're miserable. So this is the spiral downward. This is the negative compound effect we're talking about. Is you complain more, your brain say, hey, complaining is good, so I'm gonna complain more and more and more, and all day long you complain. And what happens when you complain? Other people hate you. Other people complain too, and they complain, and this is domino effect all over the place. So you basically this like never-ending like bacteria that starts to spread everywhere.
Parasite.
Yeah, it's parasite that spreads everywhere. And you say, why am I in this pit of blackness? Right.
Yeah.
So you sit there and you wonder why. And you keep asking yourself, why can't I have this? Why can't I have that? Because you decided, you chose not to leave. And so you're asking you why you're still there. So it's very simple. You are there because you chose not to leave. Very simple. They don't get it. They don't understand. But now that's why we're here. We want to give people a choice. And we're not forcing you to do anything, but the choice we're giving you is not only a choice, but a choice for you to choose. Right? Because the thing is, we're saying, hey, the thing that is what we recommend and align with who you are as a person versus, hey, this is the only way to open the door you have, use the key that fits. Right. And so that's why we're here, is to kind of provide the options and for you to see what other possibility that you have versus keep saying it is what it is, because to me, that is self-imprisonment. I mean, it's worse than the physical one.
No, I mean, I think that's a great way to sum up it is what it is. It's self-imprisonment. Self-imprisonment, at least if you imprison yourself, like, I would be at least also putting myself into the jail cell where I could knew the escape hatch and I could have the blueprint.
You don't know who the warden is.
And you have no idea what the jail layout is. You don't even know.
The only thing you know is you're in jail, right? You don't know who you're in jail. You don't know you put yourself in jail. That's the tragedy, right? That is a tragedy in itself, is you put yourself in jail and you don't even know that you did it.
Well, like Nelson Mandela put himself in jail, but he chose it. And he
knows that. He knew that.
And he was fine with it. I mean, and he was fine with that being his life, and he was okay. As a matter of fact, he was more than fine with it. He still lived his purpose every single day when he was in jail for 27 years on Robben Island. And honestly, like, I mean, if you read his own autobiography, I don't know that he didn't have a good time there. I mean, he was with his boys, and You know, like, yeah, he had some rough manual labor, and yeah, he had to overcome some, you know, some guards. And I'm not just trivializing this because I'm saying like, oh yeah, he had to do this. I actually think Nelson Mandela enjoyed that because it was a part of, he was able to live his purpose by fighting for equality for prisoners, and by trying to help out his fellow prisoners, and trying to educate people, and trying to still stay. I mean, like, these are all things that he was doing anyway, you know, like, not in jail, but he chose to be there because he knew it was for, it was on purpose, you know.
He can't really help prisoners unless he's in prison himself. You think about that. You have a terrible life, man. You go out there and you hustle and you bustle, playing tennis and running back and forth, and hitting this ball, you know, as hard as you can. You know, you hit like 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour. It's like you are doing physical labor, Chris.
Right.
That's what I see, right?
I mean, I hurt. Like, I was
Right,
telling,
and it's like fuck, your shoulder got, you know, get completely, you know, bonkers just be, you know, from this overexertions of physical labor. I mean, I can say that about you. I can
yeah, when you don't ever
like
see
you
me
say
sit
that
down.
about Nelson Mandela. Hey, oh, he has physical labor, blah blah blah. I say you physical labor too. You got to run back and forth in the court, and you have to hit this fucking ball so hard that your shoulder broke.
Right. There's a reason why you never see me sitting. This is probably one of the only episodes where I've been sitting down for Yomo, because I'm always standing up, right? The only reason I'm sitting down is because I was on that stupid phone for a little bit and I was staring down. So I was like, well, at least I'll just sit down so I can at least somewhat see it, because it's anyway. But it's because every fucking time that I stand up, there's a reason why I stand up all the time. Every goddamn time that I sit down and I have to get back up, it takes me like, I don't know, at least 5 seconds to like straighten up my back, to like start to walk forward in like a normal cadence, because like my lower back and my ass always hurts so bad from all the pounding that I take, you know, and put on my body, like running every day. I love it.
Saying you can say that about Nelson Mandela, about he's being, you know, forced to do physical labor and blah yada yada. I can say that's about the same thing for you. You're being abused to the point where you have this fucking condition where you can't even sit and get out without having to really, you know, take some time to adjust yourself.
I mean, it really hurts. I remember the opening.
Poor Chris.
The opening.
And how long you been in prison in this tennis camp?
Oh man, my body's been fucked since I was like 13 years old.
That's to me just being in Robben Island.
Right. I mean, well, I know you're being facetious about it, but there is some similar.
But you get
what you're saying. Dude, you're definitely right. You're not wrong, honestly. Like, I'm choosing to do that. Now, there's one thing if you just did it because Andre Agassi fucked his whole body up. He literally, his opening chapter of his book, he talked about how every single day he had to go stand in the hot shower for almost an hour or something like that, just to be able to get his back to loosen up enough to start walking. His kids knew it every single day. They're like, Dad's in the shower because he can't move. You know, he has to just sit there, wait until his body finally engaged every single day. But he did that because he hated tennis, right? He hated it so much, and he never chose this world. If you ever watch Andre Agassi play, after he would get done playing a point, he would almost kind of waddle a little bit. It's because his lower back was all so fucked up that he barely could even walk. So he would waddle, like, you know, like almost, you know, like but to your point though, like, he never chose that. He just kept doing it and doing it until one day he finally went off, his train derailed. Andre found his why and found his purpose, and he found his way back on purpose to hurting himself. And then he was okay with going every single day hurting himself because he had a greater reason of why he was choosing to do that. Like, and that's a totally different animal. Like, you know, like we'll endure a lot of things when we know why we're doing it, right? Like, like you can only endure so much when there's no why behind it, when there's no purpose behind it. Eventually you're just gonna fucking crack. It'll break you. Like the Andre and what he went through will break you. We gotta wrap because it's getting pretty late. So question we can leave for everybody is, how many times have you said it is what it is in your own life? Think about it. Think back on these moments. And if you find yourself saying that a lot, think about it as you go forward in life. Like, if you find yourself saying that a lot, stop and go, is it what it is? Is there something deeper here? Should I start to research this a little bit more? Why am I doing this right now? And maybe how could I do it differently? And how could I do it differently knowing who I want to be and how I want to live my life, right? That would be what I would encourage everybody to do on this journey.
Yeah, so we can wrap with that.
See y'all.